in 8th century, when literally was fixed this myth of Argonauts or the Golden Fleece country, it was the Colchis where it stopped. The traveling of this myth stopped in Colchis, and after this, I think Colchis is this country rich in gold, the El Dorado of the ancient Greeks.
Fantastic.
And it's actually rich in gold.
And it is rich.
It actually was rich in gold.
Rich in gold, yeah. Wow.
Who were Argonauts? They are good, well-organized band of robbers.
This is a place where, in my opinion, Argonauts turned to their side, because their side, the roads were going in a different way, not like today. And this was the main caravan road.
This was?
Which would go to Messia and everywhere.
Across the Caucasus?
Across the Caucasus.
Wow.
Svaneti is so isolated that although they're Christian up here, songs and beliefs still survive from the pagan past. Songs like this, an ancient hymn in praise of the sun god, sort of thing Jason might have heard. That night, the Argonauts were invited by King Aeetes to a banquet. As the drink flowed, Jason calmly asked the king for the fleece. The king reacted with murderous fury.
Yes.
But remember, the success of Jason's mission will depend on the goddess of love.
Now the whole story changes in tone. In fact, it becomes a different story. It becomes almost a Greek clash with the other, a clash of cultures. And a new character appears in the story who will take the story over. A character who will turn out to be one of the greatest characters in all of myth and literature, the daughter of the king of Colchis, Medea.
Now an oracle had foretold that if King Aeetes were to lose the fleece, he should forfeit his throne. He wanted to kill Jason then and there, but he could not break the law of hospitality. So he too set Jason a task that none but the gods could hope to fulfill. In my meadow, I have 2 fire-breathing bulls, he said. Yoke them. Plough the field, sow it with dragon's teeth, and then defeat the army that will spring from the ground. Do this, and I'll give you the fleece. The king thought the task impossible, but Aphrodite, the goddess of love, had done her sweet work. She made the king's daughter, Medea, fall in love with Jason. That night, Medea visited him and gave him a magic ointment that made him impervious to the fire of the bulls and the swords of the earth-born men. In return, Jason promised to be her husband and to take her back to Greece.
Up in the remote region of Pashavi, you can still visit the sacred grove. Here they still sacrifice the ram and show the fleece, and you can still meet Medea's descendants, the women oracles. They're Christians today, but they did these things in the age of heroes. And after the sacrifice, they eat the flesh and drink to life.
Thank you.
Medea has prepared a magic potion from her herbs, which she anoints on the eyes of the serpent to make it go to sleep. And then Jason takes the fleece down from the tree. In some versions, he actually kills the serpent. But in one ancient version, he seems to have been swallowed by it, and is only regurgitated and brought back to life by the intervention of the goddess herself. And maybe that gives us a clue to the original form of the story. Perhaps, in origin, it's a kind of initiation story in which the young hero undertakes an impossible quest, enters the realm of death, and is redeemed only by the divine woman herself, whose lover he must become.
So with the golden fleece in his hands, Jason swears by the everlasting gods he will be true to Medea forever.
Swear undying love and live happily ever after. But Greek myths are not like that. It's given to few mortals to live happily ever after. Human beings can be almost children of the gods. They can fulfill every oracle, protected by the queen of the gods herself. But if you overstep the mark, if you fail to show due reverence both to the gods and to your fellow human beings, if you break your most solemn vows, then fate will catch up with you, and your true destiny will be revealed.
So Jason returned to Iolcos with the golden fleece and his bride Medea. His wicked uncle, King Pelias, was astonished to see him, but Medea used her magic to destroy Pelias. She persuaded his daughters that they could rejuvenate him if they chopped him up and boiled him in a cauldron. So Pelias died. Jason was made king, and the oracle was fulfilled. For a while they prospered, and Medea had 3 sons. But the people of Iolcos were afraid of Medea and her witchcraft, and in the end, they drove Jason and his family into exile.
Here in Corinth, the famous Jason was made king. He was offered a beautiful young princess as a wife, and he accepted and broke his solemn promise to Medea.
Now, of course, Medea was a larger-than-life character. She had gods among her ancestors as well as humans, and her passions were correspondingly extreme. In revenge for what her husband had done, she murdered their children.
Medea's crime, you might think, is a pure creation of the poets. And so it is, except for a strange discovery in a lonely bay just over the water from Corinth.
The ancients connected those events with a headland where there was a temple to Hera, the queen of the gods, a temple dedicated by Medea herself, and the tomb of the murdered children, and a weird statue of a frightening woman simply known as the Terror.
And Medea's punishment? She was immortal, and the gods protect their own. They took her back to Mount Olympus and gave her a new husband, the great Achilles himself, a true hero.
And as for Jason, well, he ends the story as he began it. Alone in the world with one sandal. And he wanders back to Iolcos, to the thing that made his fame, his old boat, the Argo itself, whose rotting hulk was now lying on display by the seashore. And sitting weeping in its shadow, the magic beam, the speaking prow, crashes down on his head and kills him. Made by the gods, destroyed by the gods. His destiny had been fulfilled.
O ariano, que nos traz esta excelência de vida e morte, do começo ao fim. Temos sempre que recomeçar. Nascemos pela cabeça e alguns também podem morrer por ela. Não só fisicamente, mas especialmente por perder a cabeça, por cometer muitos erros. E é por isso que os deuses do Olimpo estão vivos em arquétipos e mitos dentro de nós, para nos alertar sobre as nossas possibilidades de redenção e também de humilhação, muitas vezes, porque devemos nos ajoelhar diante dos nossos erros, inconsequências e incongruências. Não precisamos morrer por elas, mas precisamos nos elevar por aquilo que é melhor, por aquilo que é bom. E para tudo há limite, até para o cumprimento do destino de cada vida, de cada existência. Que bom estar no Café com Astral de hoje, falando com você sobre essa experiência mágica, transcendental, trazendo este mito de Jasão e os Argonautas, para ilustrar a passagem do Sol pelo signo de Áries, o primeiro do zodíaco. Já nessa semana mesmo temos muitas novidades astrológicas. O Sol, que derrama os seus últimos raios de luz sobre o terceiro decanato, vai embora e adentrar outro signo fabuloso que vem dar resistência e substância a tudo aquilo que foi inicializado por Áries, que é o signo de Touro. Já vamos falar sobre isso. Agora, ainda cumprindo um pouco esta jornada ariana, eu quero que você conheça um outro mito que vai nos dar uma visão um pouco mais amplificada sobre o regente de Áries, que é Marte. Marte para os romanos e Áries para os gregos. Ele que é e foi o amante de outra deusa grega, Afrodite. Vamos ver e ouvir.